Who's digging this warm fall? Me too. Yeah, I'm a sunshine person, and that early late night, early darkness, I guess, gets to me a little bit. But that being said, it's a beautiful, sunny fall morning. Welcome to Kansas City Oasis. My name is Julie Samuel Wistman, and it's not that anymore. Oh. Don't tell Kevin. Don't tell Kevin. My name is actually Julie Samuel Lambert now. Oh, wow. 30 years of the other. I'm pleased to welcome you here to our community center, and for those joining us on Facebook and even later on YouTube sometime in the future, hello, future people. Welcome to Kansas City Oasis. Since 2014, Oasis has been a premier secular alternative to faith-based communities, and we welcome all, regardless of belief or non-belief, race, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, or any other trait. We feel that the human experience is better when it's shared, and we're so pleased that you've chosen to share it with us this morning. As you see on the side of the stage here, these are our 5 core values, and on the screen as well. People are more important than beliefs. Reality is known through reason. Human hands solve human problems. Meaning comes from making a difference. Be accepting and be accepted. We have a great program for you this morning. First, we'll introduce our featured speaker will be Sarah Lowderman on citizen diplomacy in a changing world. Our musical guest is Foxlin, and then in just a minute, we'll have a community moment from our very own Kacy Patrick. So without any further ado, let's welcome Foxlin. When you experience Foxlin live, yay, we'll clap it up. When you experience Foxlin live, you're stepping into a space of raw honesty. He's not just performing songs, he's sharing stories, letting vulnerability live where it is often hidden, and building community with those who show up. To Foxlin, Kansas City is more than a home, it's family. So please, let our family give him a warm Oasis welcome. Foxlin.
Hello, thank you so much. Like she said, I'm Foxlin. Good to be here, good to see you guys. Loneliest magician made his whole life disappear. He banked on his religion and held everything dear. But everyone he ever loved just vanished in the clear. He does his tricks, a simple mix of anxiety and fear. Loneliness inside him eats away at his beating heart. When you're fooled by a fool, you surely have to part. When he sees a reminder of her, he'll unveil his sacred art. There's a dead in the head and he's in bed, praying for a new start. Magician made his audience disappear. He spoke his mind through dark times and tried to reappear. When he's gone, what he knew all along will drown in the atmosphere. But his long lost love, his turtle dove, couldn't be seen near. loneliest magician has a heart of solid gold. He just missteps but pirouettes, it always comes back cold. You'll never find another, someone to have and hold. Oh, the loneliest magician will always have to fold. Yeah, the loneliest magician will always have to fold. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, like I said, I'm Foxlin. I play just about every weekend, and it's so good to be here. I've never been here before, so this is amazing. I love community, and I'm really excited to be playing for your community. Cool. All right, this is a song called Marry That Girl. My mother said to me, boy, you got some growing up to do. Go out and find a girl, make sure you love her more than the world before you get yourself killed. I brought her home on a rainy day. I heard my mother say, boy, you gotta marry that girl, you better marry that girl someday. Boy, you better marry that girl, you gotta marry that girl someday. Look in my father's eyes, he tries to teach me what is right. He said, son, it seems to me good girls are few and far between. You get lucky or you get beat. I brought her home on a rainy day. I heard my father say, boy, you gotta marry that girl, you better marry that girl someday. Boy, you better marry that girl, you gotta marry that girl someday. Our string is thick and true, and I know I love her to the moon. Look in my father's eyes, this time I see a man alive. I see myself, and I think back to the day I heard my father say, boy, you better marry that girl, you gonna marry that girl someday. Boy, you better marry that girl, you gonna marry that girl someday. Thanks, guys.
Whew. All right. Thank you so much, and we will chat a little bit with Foxlin after we come back from the coffee break, learn a little bit more about him. So let's, 3 weeks of birthdays. And you might ask yourself why. We won't have, the next 2 Sundays, we won't have a meeting that has announcements or a regular program, so we're covering 3 weeks of birthdays all in one. So here we go. On November 17th, we have Michael Galante and Bruce Rosenblatt. I think I see Bruce right there. Happy birthday. And November 18th is Noah Radford's birthday. I know he was here because he was changing light bulbs this morning. So happy birthday, Noah. All right. On November 19th, Cheryl Brissett. November 26th, Mark Menden. November 28th, we have some birthday twins, Fred Mayfield and our good friend Charlie Frey, who has moved away but is still watches us online. On November 29th, Vince Mullica. On December 1st, Patty Brown. December 2nd, John Muter. And December 5th, Joe Zirk. So let's give it up for all those birthdays among us. And just try to remember over the next 3 weeks, if you're in your socials and you see these folks pop up, to give them a little extra birthday love on their birthday. Does anyone else have any birthdays or celebrations that they'd like to shout out, or for me to shout out this morning? Could be anything good that happened in the next 3 weeks. No, I don't know. That doesn't work exactly like that. But if you do have something come up, please just let any of us know. Those with the yellow lanyard can help us help you celebrate whatever special thing you have going on in your life. And next, we'll talk about our Volunteer of the Week. This week's Volunteer of the Week is Todd Butler. Hooray! I think Todd was not able to join us in person, but he'll see this later, and I'm sure he will be grateful for your appreciation. So a little bit about Todd. He's recently joined the AV team. He's taken on the role of learning to set up all of our computer and camera equipment at the podium and back at the AV table. He's also learning how to run our live stream. So we appreciate his time and dedication to learning the software involved. So thank you so much, Todd. All right, one more time for Todd. So I think we have a special guest here today. Do we see Sam? Sorry, I didn't get to meet you before. I hit every red light from here to Raytown on my way in this morning. So Sam is the director of the Grassroots Organizing and Advocacy for American Atheists and is on the Camp Quest board. She is in town for the United We Stand conference and will join us today for lunch after Oasis. If you have any questions about the secular summer camp that is near and dear to our hearts here, Camp Quest, or about American Atheists. So wave your hand one more time for us, Sam, so we can all get to know you and speak to you later. All right, great. Okay, Kansas City Swingsters break the next round of dance instruction is beginner Lindy Hop. You'll see it'll be Tuesdays starting November 4th, so it's already started. But I think it's okay to jump in even if you haven't started at the beginning. You can jump in anywhere, literally hop in anywhere. Oh, I know. I see what I did. Join us this Tuesday and every following Tuesday. Presented by Kacy Swingsters. Classes are $15 each, and you don't even need a partner. It's all just here to have some fun together. But wear comfortable shoes, or comfortable clothes, and shoes with a little less friction, so you can slide easily across the wooden floor. I imagine that's what that's for. So classes start promptly at 6:30. So if you can arrive a little before that to get checked in. So here's the next call to action. You might have seen this on our private page. But we're working to help support our community at large here in the KC Metro by donating requested food items to the Harvesters Community Food Network. There's been a lot of people, even with the government reopened, people have still had to struggle. They've been behind on maybe having their needs met. So there's a couple ways you can go about this. You can scan the QR code for a list of requested items, and there will be a lot of QR codes. If you don't catch them now, you can catch them in the coffee break and the display in the back. But another way you can either do a cash donation to Harvesters if you feel so inclined, or if you have any unopened, dry, and canned items, you can bring them here every Sunday. The next thing is an announcement of a social event. On the 20th at 7, we'll have a game night right here in the community center. So bring your favorite board games and a snack to share. There's lots of games that will already be here. If you don't have a favorite, maybe you'll learn a new favorite. So we'll roll the dice together, shuffle the cards, and make some great memories while we do so. And next is a social event that involves music. So Saturday, November 22nd at 7, we're going to go as a group to see Marion Self, female Elvis tribute vocalist. All right, that's a lot of sentence. I don't know that I've ever seen a female Elvis tribute vocalist, but at Inglewood Arts, one of our favorite places to do fun stuff and engage with some really great people over in West Independence, Missouri. So the tickets for that are $15, so you'll need to check that out online. Now we'll talk a little bit about why we had 3 weeks of announcements. Next Sunday, November 23rd, we'll be having a Friendsgiving potluck here with our chosen secular family instead of a regular Sunday gathering. So please plan on bringing something to share, and then we'll do a little exercise considering what we are thankful for. You can scan this QR code and help us sort of organize the food so it's not just 47 bags of potato chips, but we do have a little bit of something to offer for everyone. So sign up here in the link. This again will be on our website and on Facebook. So we'll start at 11. Well, I guess snacking begins at 11, but if you can come at 10:30 to do whatever you need to get set up, that would be great. Ooh, another social event. Monday musical, Singing in the Rain. So on Monday, one Monday a month, who loves singing in the rain? Oh my gosh, yeah, me too. The whole lamppost thing, it's aspirational, but can't do it, but I love to watch Gene Kelly do it. So that will be a week from Monday. At 5:30, we open up the building, and you can bring your own snacks and even your own comfy seating. So if you have a beanbag you want to throw in the back of your car and bring it in here, or you can, I don't know, get a sleeping bag and a yoga mat and sit on the floor while we watch Gene Kelly. Okay, the second Sunday that we will not be having regular programming is because it's our what we call Service Sunday. It's the last Sunday of any month that has 5 Sundays. So those happen about 4 times a year. Instead of our regular secular gathering, we'll be hosting a blood drive and a work day here at the community center. So if you scan this QR code, it will take you to the Save a Life Now website to make it so you can schedule your blood donation through Community Blood Center. So there are, at the time of the writing of this, there were 19 donation spots that have not been claimed. So if you have never been a blood donor and would like to give it a try, or if you're a seasoned veteran at donating blood and know that you're eligible because enough time has passed since our last blood drive, please consider signing up here. Also on that day will be the book club meeting. They have been reading, and you can speed read from now until then, Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. It's a historical novel by Jamie Ford, centered around the forced evacuation of Japanese Americans into internment camps. So if you'd like to join them, maybe get that audiobook, turn it on 2 times speed, and you can be ready by November 30th. Next up, another philanthropic endeavor that we really have enjoyed doing. We have done this in the cold weather for the most part. But sometimes that's okay because you work up a sweat putting up walls. I think that is us that day that it was, no, those people have shorts on, disregard. So 1 December, we did an activity very much like this, all bundled up, got to raise some walls on a house this last year. We got to be a paint crew on the interior of a nearly finished home, and that was also fun and a little bit warmer. If you're interested in participating with Habitat for Humanity, there is, you'll need to sign up, and there is also a waiver for that on their site, and volunteers must be 16 or older. And we currently have 4 people signed up, and the deadline to sign up is this Friday, so please consider taking a look at that. It's a great time, and you get to wear a hard hat and a vest, and how cool will you look in those pictures? So, but also a lot of fun and a lot of ways to put our human hands towards solving a very real human problem for affordable housing. I think we're almost in the home stretch, everybody. We are sponsoring 10 children in foster care again this year, providing holiday gifts from their wish list. So please sign up to purchase items on the spreadsheet indicated on this QR code, or if you don't feel like you are in a shopping mood, we have plenty of people here that are more than willing to fulfill that part of the role, and you can donate via Venmo or Zeffy. Spoiler alert, that's a new donation platform that we are doing a soft launch of today. So, Zeffy. Gifts should be new and unwrapped and must be received by Sunday, December 7th. And this QR code is if you want to sign up to actually go and procure some item for these kids yourself. It's really cool this year. I feel like we've got a wide-ranging list of ages. Some years we have like all teenagers or all 10-year-olds, but I think we have everything from babies to teenagers this year, so that's kind of fun. And Zeffy, one more little plug about Zeffy. It's a new fundraising platform. I will be speaking about it a little bit next week at Friendsgiving, just to sort of help everybody understand why we've made this switch and sort of how it will affect our donations going forward. The good news about it is at no cost to us as a nonprofit to have this platform, which is different than our current platform. So if you'd like to give Zeffy a try, you can use this QR code or Venmo at Kansas City-Oasis. And if you could add a memo for me that it's for the Holiday Giving Fund, that would be much appreciated so I can keep it all straight. Oh, that's enough of me. Wonderful. And with that, it is my pleasure to get ready to welcome up our Community Moment speaker. A community moment, if you're new here, is an opportunity for a member of our community to present on a topic of their choice during Sunday gathering. It can be related to really anything, your profession, your hobby, a travel experience, your favorite movie, your least favorite movie, whatever you'd like to speak about, or just something that motivates you that you'd like to share. So you can sign up on our website at kcoasis.org, as shown here on the screen, or talk to Roger Pick. And we are booking for 2026. And any January and Sunday that you feel so motivated to come and tell us about you, please do so. With that, it is my privilege to welcome up Kacy Patrick. You see there are no descriptors. Kacy Patrick, who is not easily definable. Let's welcome Kacy Patrick.
Okay. I thought I was missing something. Okay, yes, I am Kacy, and I'm going to tell you a little about a lot of rocks, because I'm a geologist. And thank you, I think it's cool too. Okay, so this is me and my dog right after we moved up for grad school. Does anyone know what mountains these are? Shout it out if you do. No? Kind of, but no. These are the Grand Tetons in Wyoming. Yeah, okay, why didn't you? So I went to the University of Wyoming in Laramie, Wyoming, to study paleontology, which is in fact a subset of geology. And just in case you haven't had enough coffee yet and you're wondering, gee, what is paleontology? Paleontology is the study of any life ever that existed on this planet, except the modern stuff. We prefer the very dead stuff in rocks. And then the study of people, if you're wondering, that is archaeology. And I would argue, personally, hot take, Ross from Friends is an archaeologist, not a paleontologist. Okay? Let's get that straight. Okay, so when I moved up to Wyoming, I got there a little bit early just to get used to the town, and kind of get my bearings before grad school started. And lucky me that I did, because I got invited on a dinosaur dig before I even started classes. So this is a view from the dig site that I took up in northern Wyoming. And we were looking for, oh wait, one moment. This is me and my first dinosaur bone that I found. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Or my feet, whatever. So this is a femur of an ankylosaurus. Anyone know what an ankylosaurus is? Can you picture it in your brain? If you can't, it's this one. Okay, yeah, now we go. So that's ankylosaurus. That's pretty much the end of this story. Yeah, let's move on. Okay, this is me when I had hair. I'm actually working on the vertebrae, the spinal column, of an apatosaurus in our prep lab at the university. Anyone know what an apatosaurus is? I see some nods. Excellent, excellent. It is a dinosaur, yes. Okay, it's this one. So now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about science. Very broad topic, should be easy. So this is actually one of my favorite dinosaurs to talk about this topic because it illustrates a lot of really cool points, I think. So especially these days, I find that a lot of people talk about science as if it's this monolithic mass of knowledge that we store in a library in leather-bound books, and that is the law, which is just silly. If you know anything about science, we're just a bunch of silly little monkeys with lots of questions trying to figure things out. So science is a process. It's not a thing. It is a system of looking through things and trying to figure out the world around us. And because of that, it changes a lot. And more than half, I would say, of the process is proving each other wrong and right and correcting on minutia. And that's the goal, because after a lot of that, we get closer to the truth. So Apatosaurus, this one is pretty fun because this was discovered, I want to say in the 1940s in Wyoming during this thing called the Bone Wars. If you want to talk about that, we can talk about that a little later. But it was described, which is a very official process where a scientist finds a new thing. They say these are all the new things about it and why it's a new thing, and I get to name it because I found it and I'm fancy. So that happened, and then a year later, another scientist found all of the body of a very similar animal, but there was no head. And it turns out the skull is a pretty important factor. So he told his people, he was like, I need a head, go find one. Yeah, you see where this is going. So they did, and I'm hoping to hear some gasps. They put it on there, and they called it Brontosaurus. Yeah, okay. You all know that one. That one's famous, the thunder lizard. So a couple years went by, not too long actually, and scientists figured out, you know what, Brontosaurus is actually fake, and it's actually an Apatosaurus. So that got corrected in the scientific community within a number of years. But to this very day, asterisk on that, I'll circle back, people still talk about Brontosaurus, still the most famous dinosaur, I think. So this used to be my favorite little tale of shoddy science and science correcting itself. The one little caveat to that is that in 2015, actually a paper came out that said, actually, look, there are enough differences that we can tell in the rest of the skeleton. There are enough differences from Apatosaurus. So now we again recognize Brontosaurus as an individual. Yep. So I actually, even though I just told you about two different dinosaur stories, I did not study dinosaurs. I studied plants. So now I'm going to talk to you about, again, not plants. Has anyone heard of the Burgess Shale? Oh, we got one, too. All right. How about the Cambrian explosion? Okay, yeah, there we go. So the Burgess Shale is a pretty famous fossil site, I would say top 5. And it illustrates this period of time called the Cambrian explosion. And this one is really cool. You get a lot of squishy, soft-bodied fossils, which is really rare. And this is me at the Burgess Shale on the top of a mountain. You may note, this is a marine site. Interesting. This is in Canada, in Yoho National Park, and this is actually a World UNESCO Heritage Site. So there were cameras watching us on the top of the mountain. This is a trilobite that I found up there. It's just cool. My next photo isn't a photo, it's a reconstruction, of course. This is a fossil from the Burgess Shale, reconstruction. Anomalocaris, it's one of my favorites. Look how cute it is. I'm not a Pokemon person, but I'm told there's a Pokemon that is this. Okay, I see a nod, thank you. So this is another one of my favorite science stories because parts of this were found not all attached together, because that happens a lot. So actually this was initially described as 3 different species. And then years later, they found a complete specimen and were able to go back and correct that, say, actually, this is one thing. It's really weird and really cool, but it's just one thing. So again, science correcting itself. Finally, this is my last one. I don't do paleontology directly anymore, but I am still in geology, and I do what's called remediation. So, we go into sites all across the country that have been affected by all these nasty chemicals and stuff that we humans really love. So we clean up soil, groundwater, and surface water like lakes and rivers. And this is a site that I was up in Vermont just a couple months ago. This is an old copper mining site. You may think this looks like a strip mine. It's not. Actually, this is a classic shaft mine. What you're seeing here is back when they were mining the copper, they would bring it out of the ground and they would bake it and heat it up a lot. And then whatever, they get the copper out, and then whatever is left, they just kind of dump on the side of the hill. It turns out whatever is left has a lot of sulfide minerals. And when sulfide minerals come in contact with water, say from rain, bad things happen. So this whole area was dead for decades. And then more recently, some trees that are able to deal with high poison in the soil came in. But so what we're doing here is we're actually scraping up all that soil, that contaminated soil, and we dug a really big hole and put a liner in it, and then we're burying all the contaminated soil. And that's pretty much the solution. So it may seem kind of silly, but there you go. So that's what I do now. And that's almost the end. I did just want to say that I brought some rocks with me today, my emotional support rocks. If you're interested in spending a piece of your coffee break talking to me about rocks, you are welcome to. The end.
All right, thank you so much. That was fascinating, and if you have something else you'd like to share with us that's equally fascinating, or it doesn't have to be equally fascinating, it can just be something about you, we'd love to have you share that with us. Okay, so during the coffee break, take a look at the table of hats for sale. One was crocheted by Amy from Donated Yarn, and all funds go to Kacy Oasis as a fundraiser. Prices marked are suggested amounts, and the merch table can guide you on payment options. So it's been a real nice warm summer. We know the other shoe's gonna drop, and it's gonna be really cold really soon, so take a look. At this time, during the coffee break, be sure to introduce yourself to someone that you don't know. Again, all those many announcements that I made will be on the monitor in the back, and we'll see you back here in 20 minutes. Thanks. right. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. As we're getting settled, I'll invite Foxlin up so I can grill him with my list of questions. Not really. So, if you can tell us, so we can get to know you just a little bit, what would you say are some of your earliest musical influences, or what got you into music?
Yeah, so growing up, my parents were very into classic rock and weirdly 90s pop country. So I always tell people I'm a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll.
Well, there you go.
My grandparents also listened to like old Johnny Cash and like retro country, so I had a lot of that in my blood. Growing up, listened to a lot of it. We also had music playing in the house, so I really like latched on to, like I would say like singer-songwriters like Jim Croce, and stuff like that. Fleetwood Mac was a big inspiration.
Okay.
But then as I got older, it was like the Decemberists and more like indie rock and folk and stuff.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And as far as learning to play your instrument, how did that kind of go? And can you talk about that?
Yeah, it was a very long process because I just didn't care at first.
There you go.
My dad bought me a guitar in high school, and it wasn't until my friends were like, "Let's start a band," that I was like, "Maybe I'll try to learn some of this."
Yeah.
3
chords. That's all you need.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
exactly. No, really, seriously, it is. Some of my songs are 2 chords.
Well, there you go.
But, but yeah, once I kind of like was getting into it, it just really stuck, and I just ran with it.
Yeah. So you say that your most weekends are out playing.
Yep.
And I won't go into that right now, but hopefully at the end of the program we'll talk a little bit about where we can see you next.
Yeah.
So with that, let's give another warm welcome to Foxlin.
Thanks, guys. Close and keep you. He's a man who will, we know just what to do. I've got arms to throw around you. I know a pleasant dream. Did I misconceive? To what degree could you be into me? Real, or could I be crazy? I've got a heart you'd fit right into. There's a vacancy, say, for you. They can all be yours if you'd like to join the crew. I've got a heart you'd fit right into. And know a pleasant dream. Did I misconceive? I know what degree could you be into me? Are you real, or could I be crazy? Got got a charming way about you. I can hold a candle to you. Stunningly beautiful all the way through. Got a charming way about you. Know what pleasant dreams did I misconceive? And to what degree are you being to me? Are you real? Could I be crazy? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we look forward to hearing from you at the conclusion of our program. Let's give it up one more time for Foxlin. Okay. With that, we'll move into our featured presentation. This is a disclaimer that our program is designed to generate conversation and engage our powers of reason, but not as a forum to start debates. The following presentation has been prepared by our speaker and not by Kansas City Oasis. Please respect the views of our speaker, and if you have any questions, a question and answer portion will follow as time permits. All right. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Sarah Lowderman. Sarah holds a Bachelor of Arts in Finance and Economics from Ball State University. Her professional experience spans international education, nonprofit management, and youth leadership development. As the program director at Global Ties KC, she leads international exchange and diplomacy initiatives that connect global leaders with Midwestern communities. In her role, she supervises multiple federal grants that bring over 400 visitors to Kansas City each year, increasing our local global footprint. Please welcome Sarah Lowderman.
Thank you. Hi, good morning, everyone. Almost good afternoon. I really appreciate the introduction, and I really appreciate being here with you today. You have a beautiful community that's very evident from anyone who walks in the door. So I've been asked to come in and talk about this really big concept, citizen diplomacy, and maybe a little bit about how it's changed over the past year. For those of you who are here at the moment, I believe our president and CEO, Courtney Brooks, came and did a talk maybe a year or two ago. A lot's changed, and we have a lot of new things to say, so perfect timing. We appreciate the invitation. So this is what we're going to be looking at over the next little bit. So I'm going to start foundationally with what even is citizen diplomacy. Since that's what we're going to be talking about, I want to make sure we're all on the same page, especially through the Global Ties KC lens. What do we consider citizen diplomacy to be? How does it affect you, our community, the United States in general? And then I'll go into, well, how does Global Ties KC connect to that? Because we are citizen diplomacy implementers at the end of the day. And then I'll shift really into like the main part. So what's the current landscape of our industry, of our network? Where have things been? And then where do we kind of see things going from there? And then we'll make sure to talk about, well, if you want to get involved, we'll get into that at the end. All right, but with all of that, beautiful introduction, I appreciate it, but you still might be wondering, all right, well, why are you talking about this really big thing? So just the worst part, a little bit more about me. I have been with Global Ties KC full-time for 8 years, but I have been involved in international affairs and diplomacy since before I can remember. I'm actually a participant of a youth citizen exchange diplomacy program when I was in high school. I spent time with students from former Yugoslavia countries for 2 weeks on Department of State exchange program. I ended up going to Serbia for a little bit. I am a true believer from every essence of my being that the world is better off through global connections, understanding, and collaboration. So I made that my life work, and I intend to do so for the rest of my life. I have working relationships with the U.S. Department of State and U.S. embassies in different countries. So this is our work. We implement Department of State grants, and we try and make the world a little bit smaller. But we see firsthand through our relationships in Washington, D.C. or different countries, the real implications of, like federal changes or anything else that might happen. We see the real working impact of it. And I'm a local Kansas City native. I grew up here in Kansas City. It will forever be my home, but I'm a global citizen at the same time. All right, moving on. Thank goodness. So citizen diplomacy is the right and responsibility for every person to engage across cultures and create shared understanding through meaningful interactions. So the idea is by every single individual, when interacting with people from different countries, there's better relationships and understanding between those countries. And the idea is pretty simple, right? People-to-people interactions is more effective than government-to-government interactions for long-term peace and prosperity. If you interact with someone from a different country for the very first time, they've never met an American, they only see American stereotypes off TVs or movies or music or news, their understanding of who an American might be a little bit skewed about an everyday reality, especially someone from the Midwest, right? A lot of times those aren't the types of cultures and personalities that might even be portrayed in some media. But if they meet you and they're like, oh, I had a really great time, with, Julie when I met her when I was in Kansas City, maybe when they see a news headline a few months down the road about something that they're really not happy about the United States did, maybe they're able to take it with a little bit more of a grain of salt, right? And that extrapolates, think about those points of contact, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands times over decades. So that's the idea behind it, and it's a really interesting concept. It actually really started after World War II. So after the world all hated each other for a little bit, a bunch of countries decided to implement these programs to try and make us all like each other again. And we're like, okay, maybe we can try and heal some wounds that happened. And so that's when these all started. But it really came into fruition and programs really started popping up. And I think even this term was really coined during the Cold War era. After the Soviet Union fell, the Congress and Department of State created a lot of programs to try and bring former Soviet Union individuals to the United States to try and provide more understanding and let the people do some of the healing because the government-to-government contacts really weren't working. So that's the idea. It's a really interesting concept. Really encourage you to look more into it if you're ever interested. But also at the end of the day, I hope you kind of realize you're all already citizen diplomats. Social media has kind of required this of the world. So you're citizen diplomats, congratulations. And a little bit more. So some of the things I already started talking about a little bit, but the functions of this is you make a connection, you have a deeper understanding. Through that deeper connection, you have kind of an increased influence. And I really just mean whenever you're, that example I gave, maybe negotiations are a little bit easier if you have more of a relationship. Things don't have to become so, matchbox quick, things don't have to be so fiery so quick if you have a little bit of a relationship. And then because of that, long-term peace and prosperity can thrive and be real. And so this is how they do it. International exchanges, so these are usually government-funded exchange programs. Almost every country has some sort of citizen diplomacy program that exists. The United States is one of the leaders in it. China outspends us exponentially on these programs, fun fact. So this is not just a United States concept, it's a worldwide concept that we've been doing for decades. Humanitarian efforts, so that's giving aid to help ensure the stability of countries, maybe that are allies, things like that. That was a big concept of USAID, if all of you are familiar with that organization. And then cultural exchange. So this is a little bit less formal. Think of this as like artists. So artists going over, musicians, people going to different countries for some sort of artistic pursuit. I think this one is probably one of the most larger ones now, once again through social media. You're exchanging culture through even just listening to different bands on Spotify or things like that, right? You're learning more about the culture. Maybe bands might be reaching out to each other. So we're seeing an increase of this. All right. So, and that is what Global Ties KC does. We are mostly the international exchange part of that slide. we bring students and teachers and professionals to Kansas City from different countries to meet you, to meet the community at large, to allow you to be citizen diplomats, to share about your community, yourselves, but then to learn from them as well. And we have 3 major buckets that we kind of survive in. So the first one is exchange programs. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this one after this. I'm going to skip to the other one. Youth engagement. Back in 2019, we've been in existence for 70 years. And back in 2019, we kind of realized we didn't really have any students at the table. So we were bringing all these adults together. And they were talking and collaborating, and we were hoping they'd go back home, and there were business partnerships or best practices exchanged, but then we realized really there was no student, and we weren't really preparing the next generation to be a part of those conversations. So we created the Youth Diplomats Institute, which is a 9-month program for local high school students. And it's what I primarily do. I focus a lot on our youth development and leadership tools. It's for Kansas City, Missouri high school students. Meet once a month, and they meet with our visitors. And like I kind of said, the idea is by the end of it, they can be confident talking about international relations, have a global perspective at any career they decide to go into, and just walk away with more confidence. But we also do some international student programs. So we bring in students from different countries, and they come do an intensive 2-week leadership program and stay in homestay families here in Kansas City. And they do community action projects as well. So they implement some sort of community action project that they go implement back in their home country. And then the third bucket is community events. So a lot of our programs are very professionally tied. So it's individuals, journalists meeting with journalists, or police officers meeting with police officers. But we want everyone to be able to interact with our visitor, and Kacy always has actually been a huge partner and support in that. So I don't know if any of you in particular have joined maybe like a potluck we've had here with some of our international visitors. We really appreciate your space. But we just want to open it up. So we do about 20 community events every year where the local community is welcome to just meet with our visitors, share a meal, and engage with each other without any pressure or any professional ties. So I'm going to go into maybe one of the most effective citizen diplomacy tools that has ever existed. The International Visitor Leadership Program is a flagship program of the United States State Department. Has anyone heard of Fulbright before? Okay, has anyone heard of the IVLP before? Maybe if you haven't interacted with one of our visitors. Okay, so that should be opposite. It's just IVLP is really bad at branding itself. Fulbright is a household name. People know it. Universities do a great job at connecting their students to that opportunity. The IVLP is over and over again touted by U.S. ambassadors as the best diplomatic tool that the United States has for like long-term peace and prosperity. It is an opportunity for local leaders in different countries that are nominated, they don't apply, they are nominated by the U.S. Embassy in that country to come to the United States for a 3-week professionally based program. So the idea is these embassies, they connect to the country, they connect to the community, they can see the rising stars, and they can maybe see who are the people that are going to be maybe running the country in a few decades, who are the ones that are going to have the most influence in their country in a few decades. Let's bring them to the United States, let's connect with them, let's help them develop, let's help them grow, and then we'll be friends, right? Long term down the road. And they've done a really good job at finding the right people. They've over 500 current or former heads of state. You might recognize some of the faces on the bottom. Nobel laureates, cabinet members, parliament members. I think it's almost like actually 80 years now. This program's been in existence. It brings over 5,000 visitors to the United States every year. Very effective tool, and it's implemented by this really robust network of organizations like Global Ties KC throughout the United States. So there's like 83 other organizations in the US that do what we do really well in their community. So when they come to Kansas City, Global Ties KC is the organization that coordinates their itinerary and their program here. So as some examples of 2024 ones, we actually did 20 IVLP programs in 2024. This is just a small kind of snippet, so you can kind of start picturing it a little bit more. So we had Mongolians looking at enhancing library services in their community. So this one's a really interesting one, I think, because I think it's just like a really specific example of like, foreign policy. So the reason they did the Mongolian one was because Mongolian libraries are very much just buildings with books. It's very quiet, very stoic. A lot of times they're actually like in basements, not a lot of windows. It's definitely not a community service hub. And the US Embassy saw that as an opportunity to do more community engagement within Mongolia. And so like, okay, well, what if we bring actual librarians and managers to the United States to see how we do it, to see if maybe they can find some inspiration or connections to help implement that back in Mongolia. So I've always thought that was just a really interesting, really specific example of how we're helping kind of shape foreign relations right here in Kansas City. But we had people from all over. We had people from the Indo-Pacific, Syria. Zimbabwe is another interesting one. They were looking at ethical AI uses, ultimately, back in 2024, as Zimbabwe, the AI and technology is like one of the largest industries that can really like enhance their economy. And so that was a big priority for the US Embassy in Zimbabwe. But also other programs that bring in multiple people from different countries all at the same time. So in 2024, and I'm also using 2024 numbers because I just haven't taken a moment to find our 2025 numbers, but everything's pretty much the same, very similar between 2024 and 2025. We bring in over 500 participants every year these days. And this is from well over 100 different countries. We don't pinpoint on a specific region, country. It is very diverse, which I think is a huge strength of the program. And looking at a few more numbers, so we have approximately 40 different programs. So those are 3 to 5 day programs or 2-week programs where our staff is intensively with them the whole time, ensuring curriculum alignment, objective alignment with the U.S. Department of State. We also do homestay programs, so specifically our youth-based exchanges. They stay with local families to create that long-term cultural connection and relationship building. We host community events as opportunities for our community to interact, and we rely really heavily on volunteers. So we ask and we coordinate 9 to 5 every weekday. Our visitors are in meetings with individuals. So people are volunteering their time to interact, meet, and exchange. And looking at this, so this is pretty much exclusively looking at our U.S. Department of State grant programs. So all of these are U.S. Department of State grants. We propose, we get accepted, it's federal money. And with all of that, though, the federal budget, I assume Courtney spoke about this. I didn't want to harp on it too long. But just as like a little bit of perspective, the international affairs budget of the United States is less than 1%. And that includes all embassies throughout the world. It includes every exchange program. It includes the Department of State in general. I mean, not entirely, but like ultimately, international affairs is like less than 1% of the budget. And then our international exchanges, so IVLP, Fulbright, all of the other ones that you've never heard of, that's like 0.8, it's like an eighth of that 1%. So all of this is just tiny, tiny, tiny amount. And this is 2024. And then looking at next year, 2026, this is what it is. We don't have any programs on the calendar for next year. Not to say that we're going to go out of business. We're totally here. We have things on the calendar privately. We have 0 government exchange programs on the calendar for 2026. So Global Ties KC, we're still here. We're not retreating. But we've had to do a lot of thinking the past month, now that kind of we're starting to really see the landscape of what's happened. So I'm going to take you through that a little bit. And then we'll kind of debrief and kind of go back to 2026 a little bit at the very end. So just another caveat, this is not represent an official statement from Global Ties KC at all, but rather is just a summary of 2025. and global engagement in the United States. And also, I might be speaking for myself a little bit. Okay, so in January 2025, this is when the safe, secure, prosperous language came out, right? Very, very quickly. And as a network, International Affairs Network, we all took a step back, we sat with it for a second, and we go, okay, safe, secure, prosperous. Okay, good, check, we got that. But we still had to think about that a little bit hard. Thankfully, we do fully know and believe we do make the United States safer, stronger, and more prosperous. The word prosperity has been in our language for a very long time. But the idea was, but does everyone think that too? And does everyone outside of our network believe that as strong as we do? And have we been doing a good enough job at communicating that before we needed to? Was an idea. So we're kind of stopping for a second, reflecting on it, and being like, okay, what's about to happen? And then 1,300 US Department of State officials got fired back really quickly in January too. So we work directly with the US Department of State. It's a lot of our friends, embassy officials. A decent portion of them were pretty quickly fired, creating a capacity issue within our network. So we welcome thousands and thousands and thousands of visitors every year. We instantly had to think about, okay, can we support that? But Global Ties KC, we're not affected at this point. Our programs are still happening. We still have money until there is a complete freeze. All federal money, it was during the Doge moment, all federal money for grants was completely stopped. And as an organization, we were over 90% reliant on government grant funds. And so thankfully, us as an organization, my boss is very good at what she's done, and she's been doing it for 13 years, where we had the reserves in place where we could still keep staff on payroll, but a lot of our network was instantly furloughed because they don't. They need to see the immediate administrative funds coming in order to pay people 2 weeks later. So thankfully, Global Ties KC, we were in a great position, but most of our allies and our network was not. So we started to kind of instantly realize, well, this network we're a part of, we've always really considered it to be very stable, right? Government grants, they've been in existence for 80 years. We were not a network that really worried about furloughs or layoffs or anything like that. Right? So we instantly started thinking about, okay, do we have to realign ourselves? And starting to see that picture come together a little bit more. And then we realized that that was definitely the case because of the rescission package that came through, completely eliminated every public diplomacy program that ever existed. So it was Fulbright, it was IVLP, it was everything. It didn't go through, thankfully. But this was one of the moments we realized, okay, we can't just anticipate this being here forever, and we can't anticipate this being here forever. It was an immediate understanding when this was coming through. So we're like, all right, well, funding, can't rely on it. They can just freeze our funding at any moment. People are being laid off. We have a capacity issue. Programs are probably going to have to be cut because of that capacity issue. And we're seeing some packages that would eliminate our programs entirely. So funding is an issue. But then on the other kind of vein, we also were seeing a lot of policies that were coming out, which were making it more difficult for international visitors to come to the United States. So it's like the second fold of what we do. It's like, all right, so there's money, but at least people are able to come to the United States. Then we realized, okay, well, people are having issues getting through the border. That's another issue. We didn't want to be liable for individuals. We didn't have the contingency funds to then pay more money if they were stuck somewhere or trying to get them back home. All kinds of really, really large obstacles kind of coming into all of this that all together really painted a picture that we needed something different. And things were changing. And this institution that has been an institution for 80 years was going to look different. And it's not going to be the same. And so now and moving forward, welcome to Cultural Diplomacy 2.0. The George Marshall Fund kind of recently put out this tiny article. I'm actually a little offended they didn't spend more time on it. It's really small. It's like a 5-minute read, pretty short, about the changing landscape of cultural and citizen diplomacy. And ultimately, what we're going to have to be seeing moving forward is global affairs, international relationships are going to be determined by people. Historically, they've been determined by governments. It's been the United States saying, this is a priority in this country, this is a priority in this country, let's bring them here and have people, interact with them and yada, yada, yada. I think it's going to be different now. I think it's going to be us determining what our priorities are in different countries. And it's going to be us making those decisions and making it happen. And then Global Ties KC and other community-based organizations are going to be here to be leading the way and to be that central hub in international hospitality, exchange, and citizen diplomacy. So we remain here, and we're thankfully, we've been around for 70 years. We have the expertise and the contacts and the know-how to still make it happen, even without that government tie. We can still make it happen. But in order for that work to continue, individual people are going to need to step up to support their passions as the government decides they want to step back. And I'm not even tying this to international affairs and diplomacy. I'm not even tying this to Global Ties KC. I'm just going to make it as a blanket statement in general, where we're going to be the ones to determine what we are passionate about and what we care about, and to fill in gaps as needed. And we are seeing that really heavily in our sphere. So with that, shifting very quickly, so I encourage you all to really get involved in not even just Global Ties KC, but anything that you're passionate about and that excites you, puts a fire in your stomach. Through Global Ties KC, a little bit more about 2026, we are looking at privately funded exchanges. So my boss and I, we're meeting with schools in different countries, and we are talking to individuals about what they're passionate about. We're finding companies that, bring in maybe trade delegations or things like that. But we're still continuing, and we're finding that privately funded and driven opportunities that I think are going to be it from now on. So with that, there will still be opportunities. Dinner hosting. Hopefully, now that the government is reopened, maybe we can even start getting some stuff on the calendar. We'll see. We don't know. But ideally, there will be tons of opportunities to host visitors in your home next year just for a single dinner. One night, they ride share to and from your home. You share a nice meal together, then they go back to the hotel. And community events. We will for sure have community events next year. We're going to be partnering with some international organizations that are going to bring some people in during the World Cup. And so we'll be bringing our community together to meet some people from different countries that way. Hopefully we'll have some overnight hosting opportunities if we get some more youth exchanges on the calendar. That's a really impactful way to bring the world into your home and to create a lifelong relationship. And you can also just get involved just by getting involved. We're always looking for, people to provide their expertise or interests, bookkeeping, events, board, things like that. So, but stay a citizen diplomat, stay engaged and stay curious. Keep read on what's happening. We are a resource. If you ever have any questions or thoughts or ideas, we are always happy to help and be there for the community. I'm actually kind of thankful. I'm trying to see some positive lights in all of this. I don't mind the idea that we're not going to be thinking of the U.S. Department of State as a client anymore. I'm thankful in a way that we are completely realigning our view of our clients, our community. What's best for our community? What's best for you? And that's the new lens that we have. And there's a lot of value in that. So I really appreciate your time today. Thank you for listening. And yeah, I'm happy to answer questions if we have some time.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah. Okay. We are going to start with our Sarah with the first question.
Sarah, can you give us a little more detail about the overnight hosting and what the requirements are?
Yeah. So overnight hosting is usually 10 to 14 days or so. So it's super short term. You're not committing to a year long like a lot of other ones. The expectation is every student has their own bed. and you feed them breakfast and dinner every day. They are with Global Ties KC from 9 to 5 every day. We do a really intense leadership-based program where they're volunteering, meeting with community organizations, doing professionally based workshops. So we keep them busy weekdays, 9 to 5. They're with you on the evenings and weekends. If you are ever interested, there is a Google Form application, and then we do background checks of everyone over 18 in the home, and then a Global Ties KC staff person will also come do a home visit just to see the room and the bathroom and just to answer questions in person, things like that. As far as that, there really are no major expectations. We encourage them to just kind of go into your everyday life. Like whatever you're doing on a normal weekday, we encourage you just to bring them along on those errands, meetings, things like this are just like some of the most important things that they get to experience. So yeah, just your everyday life.
Okay, thank you. Back here with David.
There seems to be a lot of things around food, and I was wondering if you know the effectiveness of food diplomacy. How much does it impact people's conversations?
You're speaking my language of food. No, food diplomacy is huge. So about a decade ago, that was actually one of the major moments of the U.S. Department of State was gastro diplomacy. So everyone was talking about it. Now people are talking about sports diplomacy, by the way, in case you're interested. So no, food is huge, and I think we all just kind of know that anecdotally, right? If you guys think about the real special moments of sharing a meal with someone, it's real. It's real. It provides an opportunity. It's like you're almost like a fidget opportunity where you get to like actually use your hands to do something while also just like getting to socially get to know someone, and also the opportunity to share your culture through food. It's really special. Yeah.
Are you aware of any studies? On the subject?
No, I am not. That's a really good question. I wonder if there are. I'll look them up. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay, Ian, I'll be right there.
I'm just sort of wondering, how are you feeling about the World Cup and such, with both the opportunities and challenges with the current stuff going on? What are your thoughts in general?
Yeah, I think Kansas City's done a great job at preparing for the World Cup in a lot of different ways, and so I'm really excited about that. I'm really curious what our anticipated count is. Like, I am curious if the amount of people that we're originally expecting, if that amount's going to change or not. But no, I'm really honestly genuinely very proud of all of the task forces and voices that have come together to help prepare everyone for the World Cup. There's a lot of really great opportunities right now for local organizations to help prepare the community culturally, language, sensitivity-wise, for like international visitors coming in, which I think is just really reflective of how welcoming our city is. No, I feel really good about it. I'm excited for the opportunity to see what actually comes out of it. We'll all see until it happens, though.
Well, you're saying that there's been a lot of preparation and a lot of groups working on this World Cup event. As a person living in Midtown, I'm not seeing that. I'm looking around and saying, well, this is going to happen very soon, and it feels like we're not ready. I mean, what are we doing that you're seeing that I don't see? And also, how do you interact with the International Relations Council?
So with the World Cup, I know there are a lot of grants out right now, proposals for local organizations to help create trainings, events, education for the local community. I know the city has, they're currently working with a lot of small businesses to help prep their storefronts, mostly in the downtown area, a little bit in Midtown, I believe. Yeah, I'm not directly working on the World Cup through the chamber or anything like that. I've just been at some task force meetings and some other little small things. But yeah, no, I think there's a lot happening behind the scenes, and I think, I hope that you'll be very excited and pleasantly surprised come like January, February.
Okay, one from David back here.
Oh, and then the IRC, I'm so sorry, I want to make sure I answer the same question.
Sorry,
Yeah.
part two question, sorry.
Yeah, the International Relations Council. we are very close friends. So they were actually just 2 floors underneath us for a very long time. And fun fact, actually the same group of individuals that created the IRC back 70 years ago also created Global Ties KC. Elliot Berkeley and the group of just really passionate individuals in Kansas City about diplomacy at the time, same people. So no, we're very close. We really appreciate them, and we're very thankful that they exist.
Okay, David.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the current Chinese premier Xi Jinping participate in a exchange program very similar to this one?
Yeah, maybe.
Could be. Okay. All right. So I have just one more quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You talked a little bit about the difficulty of people coming to the United States and from various countries. Do you also see a hesitancy from people of those countries wanting to, has the desire changed to come to the United States in the last year?
Good question. And that one I think is a little bit of a hard one because it's all just going to be anecdotal from my own experiences. I'm really not sure long-term data actual reality. But from what I have seen, the people who have come, no, they didn't have any hesitancy. We aren't having a recruitment issue for sure for our programs. People are still applying to the programs in our network at a pretty consistent rate that they always have been, which to me indicates that there is somewhat. I'm curious though if people outside of the people who are going to apply to the programs or have some sort of interest in the programs in the United States learning. I'm curious people outside of those people who would typically apply if their opinion has changed. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sarah, for answering our question. Thank you. Okay, and so you see Sarah's contact information there, and we've already got to the questions part. So with that, we'll just do a little bit of housekeeping. We're always looking for more volunteers to help out with our committees and Sunday gatherings. There'll be a box that goes around that has some tasks in it that need to be accomplished. And that lends itself to this slide. You see, and then there's the cabinet with the cleaning supplies. The blue cards are for the weekly task, white cards for monthly tasks. And that lends ourselves to our next section, which is that Kansas City Oasis as a 501c3 is completely volunteer staffed and donation funded. If you've enjoyed this program and the things you've seen or any of our past programs, we would appreciate your support. You can go to kcoasis.org/donate, which will now take you to Zephy instead of Simple Give. So with that, we'll go ahead and ask Foxlin back up. And let's give him another welcome. Thank you. So we'll talk about now, so we have all your socials and ways to follow you here. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Bandcamp, and Spotify. Wow, you've checked all those boxes. Good job. Social media is hard. That's a lot to keep up with. Can you tell us, wait a minute. I failed to recognize what has been in this slide the whole time. I knew about this. Can you talk to us a little bit about being the Heartland Song Network Artist of the Month for November?
Yeah, I was chosen, so I didn't get a say in it really. But yeah, no, it's a huge honor. Actually, I kind of was recognized for some, some local work that I've done in my community. So I throw a show every year where I invite therapists to come kind of mingle with people, because I feel that it's very stressful finding a therapist, and if you could go to a show and relate to what the guy is saying on stage and then being like, hey, I need help too, and then I can be like, there's a therapist right over there. It's just, you can kind of vibe with them, see if you want to do sessions and stuff. So I do that every year. It's been really awesome. So I think that was the factor that kind of made me noticeable. And then all the work I've done with just playing music and everything kind of solidified the Heartland Song Network of the month.
Okay, great. So that is an annual event. Is it the same time every year?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not at the same time every year. It is an annual event. It's getting a little bigger and bigger. The idea is to kind of grow it. Kacy is kind of the testing grounds, and then to grow it and put it on the road, go to different towns with different therapists there, and kind of try to help people out.
Great. That is so great.
Yeah.
People helping people. That's what we love to see. And if we want to come see you perform, maybe in a longer format, where can we catch you? In the future?
So all my tour dates are on my websites and stuff. Social media is the best place probably to find those. Next, I believe this Friday, my full band and I are at Hillsiders in KCK. And then in December, we've got the Rhino and in Lawrence as well at Northside Social.
Okay. So a little bit of everywhere.
A little bit of everywhere.
All
yeah.
right. So with that, another welcome for Foxlin.
Thanks, guys. So this last song, I do the same song at the end of every set I do. It doesn't require crowd participation, but if you would like to participate, it's really fun. You get to howl like a werewolf. I feel like you guys are going to be pretty good at that. So when I sing, I am a werewolf, ah-ooh. When I sing ah-ooh, you howl at the top of your lungs. It's really fun. I've had retirement communities, like, old folks' homes do it. It's amazing. It's going to be fun, guys. Take a look into my eyes, soon be hypnotized. If you could see what lies behind, you'll soon be traumatized. Why? 'Cause I am a werewolf. Oh, yeah, I am a werewolf. Oh, I am a werewolf. Oh, yeah, and I'm bound to howl with a broken hearted moan. I'm an inner lycanthrope. I don't need a full moon to sing a howling tune, and I don't know what I would do if you said you love me too. But why? 'Cause I am a werewolf. Oh, I am a werewolf. Oh, yeah, I am a werewolf. Oh, and I'm bound to howl alone with a broken hearted moan. I'm an inner lycanthrope. Beautiful. When I wrap you in a hug and I give you all my love, don't leave any for myself. My toxic mind goes straight to hell. But why? 'Cause I am a werewolf. Oh, I am a werewolf. Oh, yeah, I am a werewolf. Oh, and I'm bound to howl alone with a broken hearted moan. I'm an inner lycanthrope. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Oh, we love crowd participation, don't we? Thank you so much. That was great. We're so glad you were able. I think this is your first time with us, right? So we're so pleased that you were able to join us this
Thank you.
morning.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, so for lunch today, it will be at the Crown Center Food Court. There are a lot of options to choose from there, and we usually push some tables together over sort of by where Spin Pizza, the outside of that. It's at 2450 Grand Boulevard here in Kansas City. And there is, parking will be free if you get it validated from whomever you might get your lunch from. All right, with that, we'll talk a little bit about what's going to happen in December when we are back in person for a Sunday gathering. We will be, we'll get to experience a speaker that is an author that's written a book, Whack Job, The History of Axe Murder. This is right up my alley. I am so excited. If I'm not MC that day, I probably will fight somebody for it. Okay, so the history of axe murder, musical guest, a one-woman band, Erica McKenzie, and community moment from Doug Culp. So we have that to look forward to in December. Until then, if I do not see you, I am thankful that you're here. I'm thankful that you're part of our community, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.